Hi, Laurie. Tell me about your idea.
So, currently I am an associate MFT. So I have been practicing therapy for a few years now, uh, 4 to 5 years, and but I have been wanting to be a coach for as long as I can remember. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so I'm realizing that the people the clients I work with, uh, oftentimes have barriers with complex trauma. Um, to do some of the work that we do. And um, so I would like to uh, help people in coaching reparent themselves, and that would be finding the success in relationship to others, work, and with themselves. Most
Okay.
of
Understood. So the concept of the coaching is reparenting. Is
Mhm.
that a non-clinical intervention?
Yes,
Okay. That's good. You did mention the T word, trauma. Does it have to be as a solution for trauma?
not necessarily. No, I find that many people suffer from anxiety, especially nowadays after the pandemic. A lot of anxiety, um, a lot of fear
Mm-hmm.
for people in reaching some of their goals, in finding their own personal sense of agency. So
So we need to be delicate here.
yeah.
Um, Here's the thing that's important to understand. So what mental health professionals get correctly excited about is they're like, I want to work in a different way. I want to, and there's a lot of benefits, with if you're doing group coaching, which is what I teach, then you're coaching a group of people that takes you down to like a couple of calls per week. And then you provide some additional support in an online support community. So people get support every day. And very often there's an online curriculum that people are working through, where you have kind of like a program, which is the basis of the intervention you're offering people.
Mhm.
So that is good. But what you're not going to be able to sell it as is a reparenting program, because it's not clear what result you're getting people to. So what we have to do is design your program around a tangible end result. So
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Like a tangible end result could be somebody who needs to fix their marriage. It could be somebody who has a child that's really very challenging for them and they want to have a new way of raising this child. It could be somebody who's being promoted at work and they have imposter syndrome and all kinds of stuff coming out, and they really want to make it as a leader. But and the result that you're selling is helping them to make it as a leader. You see? Now the how can be with reparenting. They're not as interested in the how at the point when they find you. You're going to blow them away with your method once they're in your program. But what you have to do with your program is market a solution to a particular problem. Now, the problems that we've spoken about so far are all in the DSM: trauma, anxiety, these kinds of things. Now, you could say stress, you could say fear, you could say things like this, but it's a lot of trauma and anxiety. So, what we have to do to be able to sell this as a program is to choose an issue, choose a problem that people are trying to solve. It's very common. And that that reparenting is generally a good approach to solving, a good approach to use to solve this problem. And then what we do is we market the solution to that problem. And when you do that, then you have a non-clinical psychoeducational program you can sell and that people will buy. You see? So I'll give you an example of it.
Okay.
Let's say you use reparenting as a way to help people fix their marriage. So, if you were to advertise a program for Fix Your Marriage, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of men because women initiate 70% of divorces. She's done. and they're scrambling and they don't want to lose their living in the house, and they don't want to lose the access to their kids, and they don't want to lose their wife, and it's almost too late. And you were to sell a program about helping them to get their wife back, but what you're actually doing is a lot inside of there is there's a reparenting intervention, because what a lot of these men have done is made their wife their mom, and that kind of stuff. And so they need to be able to reparent themselves to be different, to show up differently in a relationship, but also some specifics about what they need to do. You see? Now
Mhm.
you say you're a marriage and family therapist.
Yes.
So that'd be one good example that's applicable to you, you see? And so what you're doing is you're teaching them some of the things they have to start doing consistently for her to see that he has changed. Then what you have is a program you can sell, because these men are like, "Oh, I need to do something right now." And you have this program that teaches them how to change how they show up in the relationship completely, and how much they have, and gives them daily support as they do it, because they're scrambling on a daily basis at this point. You see? That's
Yes.
a good fit to sell that would use your solution.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm coming from with this?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of time I see therapists doing this, and they're like, "I wanna sell a program for people who are stuck, and I'm gonna use reparenting," and nobody knows, except for the therapist, how valuable it is.
Right.
You
Yeah.
see? Because they don't I mean, stuck is not get unstuck is not a tangible end result. Nobody's gonna pay you thousands of dollars for that. But they are gonna pay you thousands of dollars to avoid losing tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands in a divorce. You see?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so, that's how we figured out how to bring something to the point of being able to sell it. And most people don't come to me with a formulated idea that's sellable. This is something we have to do together to really help it, you see? Anyway,
Mhm.
I'm doing most of the talking, so what do you think about this type of approach?
It makes a lot of sense. You're talking about offering something tangible, um, where people can even start to visualize the results once they come get my help.
Exactly.
And a part of that help would be the reparent.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
see, that's how you package it. This is the difference between therapy and a coaching program, because a coaching program is usually if you want to have a good business, it's usually sold up front. People are going to pay you like 2,500 all the way up to 5,000. Sometimes for high net worth people, you can sell at 10 or 15,000. For ultra high net worth, there's coaching that goes well beyond that. But usually you're in those kinds of realms. And so what you have to do is tie it to an end result that people want to invest in getting. Whereas with therapy, all people do is, I feel bad, I feel stuck, I need somebody to help me. I can't even really articulate the problem. And so I'm going to go to therapy. But all they really commit to is an hour a week that they pay for by the session, very often with insurance. You see, so it's much, much lower stakes to invest in a therapist when for a non-tangible end result. But when you want to sell a coaching program, there has to be something more tangible, because people are going to invest a lot of money in having it, you see?
Mhm. Mhm.
And when you do that, then that's when you'll start being successful, because you have a fully articulated offer.
That
I would
makes sense.
advise you to look at Josh Hudson coaching. I didn't mentor him. He's been up for a little while. But he's a good example of a program selling to men who are trying to save their marriage. And he's a former therapist. And the only thing that you can do differently from him, obviously you have the reparenting solution, but don't knock therapy. I don't think it's necessary for him to knock therapy in the way that he does. But he's a good example of a program that's selling for money, and is aimed at men who are trying to save their marriage, you see?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking about that, about that I'm currently working with kids and adults.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you
So
want to look at kids,
I like the idea of the parenting.
yeah, okay.
Reparenting parent.
Right. So in that case, you have to sell it without making the parent wrong at the outset. So the parent's going to come to you like, I need you to fix my kid. Right. And so what you need to do is you're going to give them the reparenting in the program, along with some steers on how to de escalate a child. And your whole premise would be, well, actually, most of the time when you're having trouble with your kid, there's actually something that is a reflection of an issue that you have in your relationship to your parent, right? So what we have to do is teach you how to reparent yourself so that you parent your child differently and you break the cycle in your family, the generational cycles in your family. And that's how you would market reparenting to parents for kids. You see? Both of these can work because they're both marriage ending, kid off the rails are two high value problems. It's a big problem. There's a huge cost to not solving the problem. There's a big benefit to solving the problem, and it's time sensitive. That means you can sell it.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
see? Well, what you don't do is lead with the self work that the parent has to do because they don't want to hear that. They want to hear somebody's going to fix my kid.
Right. The problem is going to be fixed.
Yeah. And so you have to lead with you, the parent. Sure, put your kid in therapy. Great. But you, the parent, are the one with your child the other 6 days and 23 hours of the week. And so if I can work with you, you're going to get much faster results in having a new relationship with your child. And that's what you're selling. You see? And you
Yeah.
must give parenting steers, practical stuff in the program, but you also give the reparenting as like the solution for them to be able to respond differently to their child all the time and create and change the energy in their heart. You see? Hmm.
I guess I have one more question.
Yeah.
If I were to market this to individuals,
Uh huh.
would be something along the line of um, someone maybe having problems at work
Okay.
and feeling, yeah, what if
So
they
what
were,
you're looking at is the introverted rising leader, somebody who's been promoted, but they're introverted, they're afraid, they have imposter syndrome, they hate speaking in front of people. And you're basically marketing the reparenting as a reprogramming of a lot of these issues that they have to help them to show up differently, be able to lead with confidence, be able to have difficult conversations, and to stop doubting themselves in every way. You see?
yeah,
And those are three don't launch them all three. Like launch one, okay?
I would not, yeah.
Yeah. But because you if you try to launch three at the same time, which sometimes people come to me, and I want to launch this one and this one and this one and this one, they're going to do any of them well.
Right.
You want to pick one and launch it. But these are three good programs because in the leader one, you tie it to money. The leader is thinking, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to lose, I'm going to get demoted. I'm going to fail in front of everybody. I'm going to lose this income. But if they're investing $5,000 in you, but it's helping them to secure a pay rise of 10 or 20,000 and set them up in their career to make a lot more, then you've got it right there. You see?
Huh?
And that's why there are quite a few successful leadership programs out there and leadership coaches out there because there's a lot of money to be made there. And sometimes what you'll find is people have who reach that level, a leader who's been promoted, they actually have some income that they can direct, or I should say, they have some budget that they can direct from the company funds to pay for your help.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even come out of their own pocket. See,
Mhm.
and that's what helps you to be able to market that particular kind of program. You see.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the company paying for that type of coaching, and I don't have a coaching license, right?
There is no coaching license.
There's
Doesn't exist.
oh, really?
Coaching is unregulated. Now, I only work with mental health professionals because I believe there needs to be a minimum standard of competence in a person to handle complex emotional issues with anyone, be them clinical or not. And there's only like two coaching certifications out there that I think really have a good approach to that. The vast majority of them just teach you how to do CBT badly. In fact, I did a poll on my LinkedIn recently, and what was it? It was about 20% or 13% said their coaching certification was training they needed, and 70% said no, uh, really not worth it. It was just take it or leave it. I don't really didn't really benefit from it. And then 20% said I learned how to do CBT except badly, which is what happens in a lot of coaching programs. So you don't need any license, you don't need any certification. If you're already a mental health professional, chances are you're a more highly trained person than the people who are teaching the coaching certification. Most of them, like I see a lot of coaching certifications, only one that actually is trauma aware. The rest of them that I see claim to be trauma aware are not taught by somebody who has any training in trauma. They're just taking stuff they've heard and repurposing it. So you don't really need any of these really expensive coaching certifications to you don't have to bother with it. You're already at your level. I mean, even if you weren't fully licensed, I think you said you're an associate or something.
I'm an assistant. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're still more trained than a coach trainer. You know, one of the biggest life coaching schools in the country is run by somebody who has a psychology degree and then repurposed some Byron Katie work, but that's it. And then it teaches one model, and everybody who comes out of the school thinks that now they have this hammer, they think everything's a nail, and that's it. It's not credible, and you'll waste your money, you'll sit bored in class, and you'll regret enrolling in it. Frankly, that's basically the overwhelming feedback that I get from mental health professionals about certification.
Wow, that's really helpful. Not that I had considered it because I think, yes, I do have the training of working with people for years and years before even being a therapist. I'm being in service to
Uh-huh.
people. So,
Right.
yeah,
So you have the training and experience. Don't invest in a certificate. You won't hardly learn anything unless there's like one or two which teach you different stuff, which mental health professionals have gone through and said it was good. But it's not necessary for you to have a certification in order to do coaching. Let's
okay,
face it, a lot of your work right now is probably bordering into coaching or wandering into coaching anyway, you see?
absolutely.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, very good. You got three niches there.
Yeah.
Selling something that's titled reparenting wouldn't work, but there's three ways to sell it that will.
See, yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
And so I guess I just have more questions about this program, um, like marketing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean questions about all of that.
Sure. So if you're going to sell your program or market your program, it is different to selling therapy. Now, we have had people who have successfully sold coaching when they receive an inbound call for therapy. I'll give you an example in the parenting niche that you're talking about.
Mhm.
Then somebody's called saying, well, I need therapy for my child. And what they say is, well, I got a 3 month waiting list for taking on other child in therapy, but let me tell you what I do have and I'm enrolling right now. And let me tell you why it's a good idea. And then they start talking about their parent coaching program. And you can make a lot of sales for coaching that way. You see? Um, However, if you want a more direct way of selling, which I do recommend having as well, that's just an aside. I call it the practice waitlist method. Then there are different ways to do it. If you're looking at the marriage niche, then most people seem to be running a webinar and taking into calls. Some people just run a 5 to 7 minute video that talks about the problem and the solution and what changes a man needs to make to be able to hang on to their wife or have the best chance of hanging on to their wife, and then schedules a call. Same with parenting. Usually it comes, I notice it comes to a webinar. There are some other ways that we do it where we can help people build a community very quickly. I have people who have launched parenting programs with communities ranging from 6,000 and above parents already in there, who they're then marketing their programs to, all the way up to there's one person who's over 180,000 social media followers now. You see? And so you start to build audiences through different ways. Essentially, it comes down to free ways like leveraging social media is one way that some people do and some people would hate doing. There's doing interviews, podcasts, other people's audiences, which is another way of doing it. There's running ads, and you have to have some skill to put together the messaging for ads, but it certainly is a good way to do it. What you don't want to do is fall into those people who are telling you, well, you just have to go and join Facebook groups and DM people and things like this. I don't think that's a good strategy in 2024. And it's also not something you would enjoy.
Yeah.
I think you need a better defined strategy. Sometimes building a channel like this one on YouTube, you don't need a big channel to make money. You just need a relevant channel with the right messaging, you see? So there's a number of different ways to do it. And most therapists are very reclusive. And what we have to do is take you through a process where we get you very clear on your offer, get you ready to launch, and then slowly bring you into a world where you realize that, being out in public is not about posting pictures of your lunch or being a dancing monkey on social media. It's about actually teaching with a proper message that's going to help more people than you'll ever meet in your life. But also bring a small number of people into your program who pay you a high premium for your help.
Right.
You see? And so it's way too long for me to detail all of that in this
Yeah.
call, but you're not there yet. We have to get you with a fully dialed in, very solid offer first, and then decide what marketing strategy is applicable to this kind of offer. Because
Mm.
you're not going to do a Facebook group for rising leaders with imposter syndrome. It's not a fit. You're not going to sell that on Facebook. You're going to sell that on LinkedIn. You're going to sell that on YouTube. You're going to sell that somewhere else. You see? And so we have to decide which offer you're going after, dial it in very strong, and then decide where is my audience right now and what are they listening to and what are they interested in. And then we design a strategy around that. Podcasting is another way that a lot of coaches are getting clients right now as well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which takes you off camera, which some people prefer.
So, um, I don't know how much more time you have, but I wanted to ask more about what you do, if you don't
Sure.
mind. Yeah.
All right, well, let's tie off the video. So you got yourself with three niches. You got yourself with some marching orders going forwards, which is solid. And so thanks very much, Laurie. I want to hear what program you decide to create. We all want to hear when you get your first clients in there.
Thank you so much.
No worries.